really think a woman who sells cupcakes in South Philly is wife material?" The words landed sharp, loud enough for half the room to hear. Laughter followed, low and uncomfortable. Some people looked away, some didn't. Aaliyah Brooks heard every single word. She stood by the long table near the window, hands steady as she set down a tray of fresh cupcakes, red velvet, cream cheese frosting, the kind that usually made people smile. Tonight, nobody reached for one. The music in the background kept playing, soft R&B, but the energy in the room shifted. Conversations slowed. Eyes moved between her and Marcus Hill. Marcus didn't say anything. He stood a few feet away, drink in his hand, jaw tight like he wanted to speak but didn't know how. Or worse, like he chose not to. Simone Carter leaned against the counter, arms crossed, lips curved into a small smile that didn't reach her eyes. She tilted her head, watching Aaliyah like this was all just a harmless joke. Aaliyah met her gaze for a second, then looked away. She refused to give Simone that moment. Instead, she straightened her back, brushed a bit of flour off her jeans, and picked up another tray. Her movements were calm, controlled, the kind of calm that took practice. Inside, though, something cracked, not loud, not dramatic, just a quiet break, the kind that sits in your chest and spreads. Aaliyah walked past Marcus without stopping, close enough to feel his presence, far enough to show distance. He turned slightly toward her. "Aaliyah," he said, voice low, like he wanted this to stay between them. She didn't stop. Not yet. The kitchen door swung open and she stepped inside, the noise of the party muffled behind her. The air smelled like sugar and butter, warm and familiar. Safe. She placed the tray down harder than she meant to. For a second, she just stood there, hands resting on the counter, eyes closed. She had heard things like that before, in meetings, in stores, even from people who smiled to her face. But hearing it here from someone who called himself close to Marcus, while Marcus said nothing, that hit different. Out there, they were just another couple at a friend's gathering in Philadelphia. In here, she felt like she didn't belong in his world at all. The door creaked open behind her. Marcus stepped in slowly. "Look," he started, running a hand over the back of his neck. "You know Simone. She talks too much." Aaliyah let out a small breath, then turned to face him. "Do you agree with her?" The question hung in the air. Marcus hesitated. That was all the answer she needed. Aaliyah nodded once, slow, like she was confirming something to herself. She reached for a towel, wiped her hands, then looked at him again. Not angry, not yelling, just clear. "You didn't lose me tonight because of what she said," she said softly. "You lost me the second you stood there and let it happen." Marcus opened his mouth, but nothing came out. Outside, the music picked up again. Laughter returned, louder this time. Inside that small kitchen, everything between them shifted, and neither of them knew yet that someone had been waiting for this exact moment to break them apart. Marcus stood there for a long second after Aaliyah walked past him, the weight of her words pressing harder than anything Simone had said. He rubbed his face, then stepped back into the kitchen, but she was already moving again, already done with the moment. Aaliyah grabbed her jacket from the chair in the corner, slipped it on, and headed for the back door. She did not rush, but she did not slow down either. Every step felt decided. Marcus followed. "Aaliyah, wait." She paused with her hand on the door, then looked back at him. Not soft, not cold, just steady. "I have to get up early," she said. "I got orders to fill by 7. He nodded, like that made sense, like that was enough. "Can I at least walk you to your car?" She hesitated, then gave a small shrug. "It is cold out there." They stepped outside into the Philly night. The air hit sharp, somewhere in the low 40s. Streetlights flickered along the block, casting long shadows across parked cars. Music from the party faded behind them as the door closed. They walked side by side, not touching, not talking at first. Their breath showed in the air, small clouds drifting away. Marcus glanced at her. I should have said something in there. Aaliyah kept her eyes forward. Yeah, you should have. He exhaled slowly. I did not want to make it worse. She stopped walking. It was already worse, Marcus. He looked down, hands in his pockets, searching for the right words, but nothing came out clean. Aaliyah shook her head lightly, then kept walking. They reached her car, an older Honda parked under a street lamp. She reached into her bag for her keys, then paused again. You ever notice something? She said quietly. Marcus looked up. What? People like Simone do not say things like that unless they think you agree with them. He frowned. That is not fair. She met his eyes. Neither was tonight. Silence stretched between them, heavy but not loud. Marcus stepped closer, not too close, just enough to feel the shift. You know I respect you, right? Aaliyah let out a small breath that almost sounded like a laugh. Respect is not quiet, Marcus. That landed. He looked at her like he was seeing something he missed before. She unlocked her car, but did not get in yet. You remember the first time we met? She asked. Marcus blinked, surprised by the turn. At the community center? She nodded. You showed up in those clean boots, trying not to get dirt on them. He smiled a little. They were new. You still got them dirty, she said. He chuckled softly. Because you handed me that broken hammer and said, fix it or leave. Aaliyah's lips curved just a little. You fixed it. They stood there, the tension easing just a bit, replaced by something quieter. Back then, he had seen her laughing with kids, flour on her hands, moving like she owned every inch of that space. He had not thought about titles or status. He just thought she was real. I liked you from that day, Marcus said, voice low. Aaliyah looked at him, searching his face. You liked the version of me that fit into your day, she replied. Not the one that stands in a room and makes people uncomfortable. He shook his head. That is not true. She stepped closer now, just enough that he could see the shine in her eyes under the streetlight, then prove it. Marcus opened his mouth again, but the words stayed stuck. Aaliyah watched him for a second longer, then nodded to herself. That is what I thought. She got into her car, started the engine, and rolled the window down halfway. I'm not asking you to fight everybody, she said. I am asking you to know who you are standing next to. Marcus nodded slowly. I hear you. She studied him like she was deciding something. Good, she said, because I am not shrinking for anybody again. Then she pulled away, the car disappearing down the street. Marcus stood there in the cold, hands at his sides, watching until her taillights were gone. Inside his chest, something shifted. Not loud, not clear, just enough to know this was not over, and not simple. And somewhere across town, Simone was already texting his phone, asking if everything was okay, smiling to herself like she already knew the answer. The next morning came quieter than either of them expected. Marcus woke up staring at his phone, reading their last messages over and over. Nothing dramatic, nothing final, just space. The kind that makes everything feel unfinished. He sat on the edge of his bed, ran a hand over his face, then grabbed his keys. By 8:15, he was standing outside Aaliyah's bakery in South Philly. The shop smelled like sugar and cinnamon the second he pushed the door open. Soft jazz played from a small speaker near the counter. The morning light came through the front windows, warm and steady. Aaliyah stood behind the counter, hair tied up, apron dusted with flour. She looked up when the bell rang. For a second, neither of them spoke. Marcus gave a small nod. Morning. She studied him, then glanced at the clock. We open at 9. I am not here for cupcakes. That made her pause. Then why are you here? He stepped closer, slow, careful. Because I heard you last night. Aaliyah leaned back against the counter, arms crossing lightly. And I am still here. Silence stretched, not tense this time, just unsure. Aaliyah looked at him for a long second, then reached for a box, slid 2 cupcakes inside, and pushed it toward him. "You can help me frost if you want to stay." Marcus blinked. "You serious?" She shrugged. "Depends. You still scared of getting your hands messy?" He let out a quiet laugh. "Not anymore." That was how it started again. Flour on his hands, frosting uneven, Aaliyah shaking her head at his attempts, but not stopping him. They moved around each other in the small space, bumping shoulders, brushing past, learning each other in a different way. Not perfect, but real. Over the next few weeks, they found a rhythm. Marcus would stop by after work, sometimes in his boots, sometimes still in his work jacket. Aaliyah would hand him a task without asking, like he already belonged there. They talked more, not just surface stuff, but real things. She told him about building the bakery from nothing, how she worked double shifts for 2 years just to keep the lights on, how people used to walk in, look around, and walk right back out. He listened, really listened, leaning against the counter, arms folded, eyes on her. "You ever think about leaving Philly?" he asked one night. Aaliyah shook her head. "This place raised me. I'm not going anywhere." Marcus nodded slowly. "I like that." She raised an eyebrow. "You like that I am stubborn?" "I like that you know where you stand." That landed softer than either of them expected. One night after closing, they sat on the floor behind the counter, backs against the wall, sharing the last cupcakes that did not sell. The lights were low, the city outside quiet. Aaliyah laughed at something he said, head tilting back, eyes closed for a second. Marcus watched her, something settling in his chest. "You always laugh like that?" "Like what?" "Like you forgot the world for a second." She looked at him, smile fading into something softer. "Only when I feel safe." The word hung there. Marcus shifted closer, slow enough to give her time to pull away. She didn't. His hand brushed against hers first, light, almost accidental. Aaliyah glanced down, then back up at him. Marcus did not rush it. He just turned his hand, letting their fingers touch fully this time. Warm, steady. Aaliyah did not pull away. They sat like that for a moment, quiet, connected. Then Marcus leaned in just a little. Aaliyah met him halfway. The kiss was soft, not rushed, not perfect, but honest. When they pulled back, neither of them spoke. They did not need to. Outside, a car passed by, headlights sliding across the window. Inside, something real had started, but not everything was as simple as it felt. Later that night, as Marcus walked back to his truck, his phone buzzed. Simone. He stared at the screen for a second, then answered. "You busy?" she asked. "A little." She laughed softly. "You've been spending a lot of time at that bakery." Marcus frowned slightly. "And?" "Nothing," she said. "Just making sure you're not getting distracted." He glanced back at the shop, lights still glowing inside. "I know what I am doing." Simone paused, then spoke quieter. "I hope so." Marcus hung up, but the words stayed with him. Inside the bakery, Aaliyah locked the door and leaned against it, eyes closed, replaying the moment they just shared. For the first time in a long time, she let herself believe this could be something real. She just did not know yet who else was already trying to pull it apart. Something shifted after that night on the bakery floor. At first it was small. Marcus started checking his phone more. Not in an obvious way, just quick glances, shorter replies, moments where his attention slipped away. Aaliyah noticed. She always did. One evening, she was frosting a batch of cupcakes when Marcus walked in later than usual. His jacket still smelled like outside air, cold and distant. "You good?" she asked, not looking up right away. "Yeah," he said, setting his keys down. "Just work." She nodded slowly. Work did not make people avoid eye contact. Over the next few days, it got worse. Marcus canceled plans twice, showed up distracted, smiled less, talked less. Aaliyah felt it in the space between them. Then Simone showed up. It was a Saturday afternoon, busy in the bakery. The line stretched almost to the door. Aaliyah moved fast behind the counter, calling out orders, sliding boxes across, barely catching her breath. The bell rang. Simone stepped in like she belonged there, tall, polished, confident, eyes scanning the room before landing on Marcus, who stood near the back wall. Aaliyah saw it instantly, the way Simone smiled at him, the way Marcus straightened just a little. Simone walked over, heels clicking against the floor. "Hey," she said, voice soft but sharp underneath. "I have been trying to reach you." Marcus shifted. "I've been busy." Simone glanced past him, eyes landing on Aaliyah behind the counter. "Yeah, I can see that." Aaliyah held her gaze for a second, then looked back down at her work. Not today, not here. But something inside her tightened. Later that night, after closing, the bakery felt too quiet. Aaliyah wiped down the counter while Marcus leaned against the wall, arms crossed. "You want to tell me what that was?" she asked. Marcus looked up. "What?" "That," she said, gesturing toward the door. "Your friend walking in here like she got something to say about my life." He sighed. "Simone just looks out for me." Aaliyah froze for half a second. "Looks out for you?" Marcus stepped forward. "She's been in my life a long time. She just does not want me making mistakes." Aaliyah turned to face him fully now. "And I am the mistake? That is not what I said. That is exactly what you said, just without the words." Silence filled the room, thick and heavy. Marcus ran a hand over his face. "You are twisting this." Aaliyah let out a breath, slow and controlled. "Am I?" She walked past him, grabbing her bag, then stopped right in front of him. "Or are you letting somebody else tell you how to see me?" Marcus did not answer right away. That pause again. Always that pause. Aaliyah shook her head. "Who is she to you, Marcus? Just a friend. Then why is she acting like she got a vote in this?" He looked away. "She knows things you do not." That landed hard. Aaliyah stepped back like she had been pushed. "What does that even mean?" Marcus hesitated, then reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. "She showed me something." Aaliyah frowned. "What?" He turned the screen toward her. A message thread. Her name. Words that looked like hers, talking to another man. Aaliyah stared at it, confusion turning into disbelief. "Where did you get this?" Simone sent it. Of course she did. Aaliyah let out a short laugh, but there was no humor in it. "You really believe this?" Marcus looked at her, torn but guarded. "It looks real." She stepped closer, eyes locked on his. "So you did not even ask me first?" "I was going to." "When, Marcus? After you already decided I was lying?" He did not answer. Aaliyah nodded slowly, like something inside her finally settled. "There it is." "What?" "You do not trust me." Marcus took a step forward. "It is not that simple. It is exactly that simple." Her voice did not rise, but it cut deeper than shouting. "I open my life to you. I let you see parts of me I do not show people. And the second somebody else whispers something in your ear, you fold." Marcus clenched his jaw. "I am trying to protect myself." "From me?" She shook her head, eyes glossy now but steady. "No, Marcus. You protecting the version of me they want you to believe." The room felt smaller, the air heavier. Aaliyah picked up her keys. "You said you knew who you were standing next to." She paused at the door, hand resting on the handle. "Guess you still figuring that out." Then she walked out. The door shut behind her, louder than it should have been. Marcus stood there, phone still in his hand, staring at the messages like they had answers. But something felt off, not enough to admit it. Not yet. Across town, Simone sat in her apartment, smiling as she looked at her phone, waiting. Everything was going exactly how she planned. "Hi, friend. Before we continue, I need your help. We've noticed the channel losing traction, and subscribing is one of the best ways you can support us. It's quick, free, and helps us keep delivering great content for you. Your support means everything. Comment your city or country below. Let's see how far this community reaches. Thank you. Now back to the story. The bakery stayed closed the next day. Aaliyah stood inside anyway, lights off, sunlight slipping through the front window and laying across the empty counter. The place felt different without the noise, without him leaning against the wall, without his quiet laugh breaking the silence. She moved slowly, wiping down a counter that was already clean, lining up trays that did not need fixing. Her phone sat face down near the register. It had buzzed 3 times that morning. She did not flip it over. Not yet. Across the city, Marcus sat in his truck parked outside a construction site, engine off, hands resting on the steering wheel. He had not gone inside. Not after last night. His phone screen lit up again. Aaliyah. No, not a message. Just her name in his contacts as he stared at it. He tapped it once, then stopped. What was he supposed to say? Sorry I believed someone else over you. Sorry I needed proof instead of trust. Sorry I stood there again and let it happen. He dropped the phone on the passenger seat and leaned back, staring at the roof. The silence inside the truck felt louder than any argument. Back in the bakery, Aaliyah finally picked up her phone. 3 messages. All from Marcus. You good? We need to talk, please. She read them once, then again. Her thumb hovered over the screen. She started typing, then stopped, deleted it, locked the phone. She set it down like it weighed too much. The memory of him standing there, holding up that phone like it was truth, replayed in her mind. That look in his eyes, not angry, not confused, just unsure. And that was worse, because she had needed him to be sure. Aaliyah walked to the back room, grabbed her jacket, then stepped outside. The air felt colder than it should have been. She got into her car and drove. No music, no destination, just moving. She passed the community center where they first met, slowed down without meaning to. Kids were outside, laughing, running across the same cracked pavement where Marcus once stood, trying to fix something with the wrong tools. She remembered how he looked that day, focused, patient, trying. That version of him felt far away now. She kept driving. Marcus eventually stepped out of his truck. The job site noise hit him all at once. Machines, voices, metal hitting concrete. He walked through it all like none of it reached him. Later that night, he ended up outside the bakery, lights off, door locked. He stood there for a while, hands in his pockets, staring through the glass. He could still see the spot on the floor where they sat that night, the way she leaned against the wall, the way she looked at him before that first kiss. He reached into his pocket, pulled out his phone, and typed, "I miss you." He stared at it, then erased it. Typed again, "I should have trusted you." Stopped. Deleted. He put the phone away and stepped back. Inside the dark bakery, everything felt frozen in time. Across town, Aaliyah sat in her car, parked near the river, engine off, hands resting in her lap. Her phone lit up again. Marcus, calling. She watched it ring. Her chest tightened, her fingers twitched. But she did not answer. The call ended. The silence came back heavier than before. She leaned her head back and closed her eyes. For a moment, she let herself remember. The way he looked at her like she mattered, the way he listened, the way he held her hand like he meant it. Then she opened her eyes again. And all of that felt like something that belonged to a different version of them. 2 people who had not yet broken. The river moved quietly in front of her, steady, unchanged. But everything between them had already shifted, and neither of them knew if there was a way back. 3 days passed with nothing but silence. Marcus tried to focus on work, but everything felt off. The noise, the people, even the way the city moved around him. It all felt distant. Then on the 4th day, something changed. He was at the site when Jamal walked up to him, phone in hand. "Yo, you still talking to Aaliyah?" Marcus shook his head. "Not really." Jamal frowned. "That is wild. I just saw something that does not make sense." Marcus looked up. "What you mean?" Jamal turned the screen toward him. It was a screenshot, not from Marcus, from someone else, a message thread, but this one looked different, different timestamps, different formatting. And one name stood out. Simone. Marcus felt his chest tighten. "Where did you get that?" "My cousin works at that spot Simone be at," Jamal said. "She showed me this. Said something felt off about how Simone was talking about your girl." Marcus grabbed the phone, eyes moving fast across the screen. The same messages, but now he could see it. Edits, pieces missing, times that did not line up. And then one message that was never meant for him. Simone texting someone else. I had to make it look real. He was starting to fall for her. Marcus froze. Everything went quiet. All the doubt, all the hesitation, gone in a second, replaced with something heavier. Truth. He handed the phone back slowly. "I need that," he said. Jamal nodded. "I will send it to you." Marcus did not waste another minute. That night, he pulled up to Simone's place. She opened the door with a smile that faded the second she saw his face. "Marcus, what is wrong?" He held up his phone. "You want to explain this?" Simone's eyes flickered. For a second, she said nothing. Then she sighed. "You were making a mistake," she said. "I was trying to help you." "By lying? By showing me fake messages?" Her voice sharpened. It was not fake. It was what I knew was going to happen. Marcus stepped back like he needed space from her. "You do not get to decide that for me." Simone crossed her arms. "She was not right for you." Marcus shook his head slowly. "No, you just did not want her to be." The silence between them said everything else. Marcus turned and walked away. He did not look back. Later that night, he stood outside the bakery again, lights on this time. Aaliyah was inside. He watched her for a moment through the glass. The way she moved, the way she focused on her work like nothing else existed. Then he knocked. She looked up, paused, then walked to the door. She opened it halfway. "What do you want, Marcus?" He did not try to step in. "I know what happened." She held his gaze. "Do you?" He nodded. It was Simone. The messages were not real. She set it up. Aaliyah's expression did not change right away. "You believe that now?" "I should have believed you then." That landed softer than anything he had said before. Aaliyah looked down for a second, then back at him. "Why are you here?" Marcus swallowed. "Because I was wrong." He did not rush it, did not reach for her, just stood there. "I let somebody else speak louder than you. I saw it, I ignored it, and I hurt you." Aaliyah leaned against the door slightly, like she needed something to hold on to. The distance between them felt smaller, but not gone. "I cannot fix that overnight," Marcus said. "I know that." She nodded slowly. "Good." Silence settled again, but it felt different this time, less heavy, more open. Marcus looked at her, eyes steady. "I'm not asking you to come back right now." Aaliyah studied him. "Then what are you asking?" He took a breath, "Just a chance to prove I can stand next to you the right way." She did not answer right away, but she did not close the door either, and that was enough for now. The next few weeks did not fix everything, but they changed something. Marcus did not rush her. He showed up when he said he would. He stayed quiet when he needed to listen. He learned when to speak and when to stand beside her without trying to lead. Aaliyah noticed, not the big gestures, the small ones, the way he greeted her in front of people, the way he introduced her without hesitation, the way he shut things down when someone crossed a line. One afternoon, back at the community center, the same cracked pavement still under their feet, Marcus stood next to her as kids ran past them laughing. Simone showed up, No smile this time, just tension. She walked straight up to Marcus. "So this is what you chose?" Marcus did not look at her. He looked at Aaliyah first, then back at Simone. "No," he said calmly, "this is who I stand with." Simone let out a small scoff. "You really think this is going to last?" Marcus did not raise his voice. "It already is." Aaliyah watched him, quiet, taking it in. No hesitation, no pause. Simone looked between them, then shook her head and walked away. For good this time. The air felt lighter after she left. Aaliyah turned to Marcus. "You did not hesitate." He met her eyes. "I should not have needed to learn that the hard way." She nodded slowly. "But you did learn." That mattered. They stood there for a moment, close but not touching. Then Marcus reached out his hand, not pulling her in, just offering. Aaliyah looked at it, then placed her hand in his. Warm. Steady. Right. Months passed. The bakery grew busier. Marcus spent more time there, not as a guest, but as someone who belonged. He helped where he could, stayed late, laughed more. They were not perfect, but they were honest. One evening, after closing, Aaliyah locked the door and turned around to find Marcus standing in the middle of the shop, holding something small in his hand. "You got that look again," she said softly. He smiled. "Yeah." He stepped closer. "You remember the first time you told me you would not shrink for anybody?" She nodded. "I meant it." "I know," he said. "That is why I had to grow." Aaliyah felt her chest tighten, but this time it was not pain. Marcus took a breath, then dropped to one knee right there on the bakery floor. No crowd, no music, just them. "I am not asking you to be perfect," he said. "I am asking you to keep being you, and let me stand beside you the right way, every day." He opened the small box. A simple ring caught the light. "Will you marry me, Aaliyah Brooks?" Her eyes filled before she even realized it. For a second, she just looked at him. The man who once stood silent, now choosing to speak. The man who once hesitated, now choosing to stay. She smiled through the tears. Yes. Marcus stood up, pulling her into him, holding her like he understood what it meant this time. Outside, the city moved like it always did. Inside, everything felt still. Safe. Right. Aaliyah rested her head against his chest, listening to his heartbeat. Not perfect, but real. And sometimes that was what love needed to be. If this story touched you, do not just keep it to yourself. Hit subscribe so you never miss a story like this again. Drop where you are watching from in the comments. Let us see how far this love reaches. And if you believe in standing up for the right kind of love, share this with someone who needs to hear it.